man, so I'm just getting back from the world's largest real estate conference. That's Family Reunion. If you're not familiar with Family Reunion, Keller Williams holds this event every February, typically over Valentine's Day. They kind of threw us a curveball this year and had it the weekend after. And it's always an awesome time of learning, of community building. And I thought that today I'd just take a few minutes and share a takeaway or two, some things that I'm reminded of after going to Family Reunion after a 2-year hiatus, right? Over the last 2 years, we've held digital family reunion because of the COVID pandemic. And this was the first year that we were back with some semblance of normalcy, right? About 10,000 agents converging on Orlando, Florida. And there were just some things that personally I had forgotten that I missed so much. You can fake a lot of things in business, but one of the things that you can't fake is culture and the way that you make people feel. And I think that's one of the first takeaways that I want to remind all of you guys as business people about. The way that you make your clients feel is something that cannot be duplicated by anyone else. You guys know that I have the opportunity to serve real estate agents as a brokerage leader. I don't work with buyers and sellers anymore. I have stepped away from that, and instead I get to consult with agents and help agents work with more buyers and sellers. And yet the principle holds true that you cannot duplicate the way that you make someone feel. And this past week at Family Reunion, the way that Keller Williams made me feel, the way they made me feel valued, as if my career matters, as if my market center is the most important thing in their ecosystem, as if my agents are the most important agents to them, is something that I will use as fuel to really guide our brokerage into quarter 2, 3, and 4 and beyond. And that same principle is something that I want you guys to consider in your business. How is it that you make your buyers and sellers feel? There's a lot of things in the real estate transaction that cause stress and anxiety. And the way that you help buyers and sellers navigate those things so that they feel different than any other real estate professional that they could work with is a thing that undoubtedly will create referral and return clients for years to come. So that's one thing that Family Reunion reminded me of over this past week. Another thing I was reminded of is that you and I need to get around people doing more than us. You know, I mentioned that I had the opportunity to be around other leaders who run brokerages that are far larger, are doing far more volume or units than we are here in Scottsdale. And make no mistake about it, we do a fair amount. I mean, not many brokerages do $1.5 billion in sales each year. And yet, when arriving in Orlando, I had the opportunity to spend time with brokerages that were crossing the $2 billion in sales volume. Other offices whose volume was not that high, but were doing 6,000 units. And when you're in a room with those people doing business at that magnitude, you cannot help but experience a few things. For me, I experienced this humbling, this humility that even though we're making great progress, we have so much further that we can continue to go. It also made me feel this expectation and hopefulness that we have not arrived, but that we're still on this journey together. And finally, it helped me to think even bigger. I mean, you've heard me, Joe, everyone that's associated with the All In community use the moniker dream bigger, think big, aim high. And when you adopt a mindset like that, there's no point in life where you can become fixed. A growth mindset continues to grow. And the way I want you to apply this to your business is I want you to ask yourself this question: who am I around that's doing more than I am doing? And here's the thing. If you're the smartest person in the room, you are undoubtedly in the wrong room. Why? Not because you can't be valuable to that room, but because I can assure you that you have not finished growing yet. You're on the journey too. And so while maybe you're closing 50 million in volume or 75 units or whatever the case is, more potential still lies within you. And the only way that you will draw that out is by being in a community of people who cause you to dream bigger, to think bigger, to imagine in the language of possibility. And so that's my challenge to you. Are you imagining in the world of possibility? Or is your world closing in? One of the most beautiful things about family reunion is you're around 10,000 people doing enormous things in the real estate industry and approaching business from a perspective that maybe you haven't thought about before. And so in your local area, maybe it's on your team, maybe it's in your brokerage, maybe it's in the MLS or the board that you're part of. Where's the tribe that you can plug into that causes you to think bigger? And finally, a third takeaway from Family Reunion 2022 that I think can be applied to your business as a realtor is this ever-changing and increasing phenomenon around what the executives at Keller Williams call teamberage. That is teamberage. It's this blending of brokerage and real estate team. And here's the thing. I've been asked before, where does the solo agent, where does the individual agent fit in the ever-changing industry of real estate? And as we see individuals jump on teams and teams jump on bigger teams and brokerages merge with brokerages, where does that leave me in my business? Well, I am more convinced than ever that no matter whether you are an individual practitioner, you are on a team, you run a team, you have merged and acquired multiple teams, that the possibilities and the future of this industry for you could not be brighter. It could not be brighter. Opportunity is all around you. And if you and I will pick our heads up and we will receive those opportunities, we will be successful. No, I don't think that individuals need to jump on teams. I don't think that teams need to merge with other teams. I think that we must keep our heads out of the sand and we must be thinking as strategic business owners. Why is consolidation happening? Why are these massively successful agents choosing to get into business with other hugely successful agents? And once we understand the why, does that make sense for you and I? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But here's what you have to be thinking about in your business. How are you providing the same level of value that these teams and brokerages are providing to clients? And perhaps it will require you to shift the tactics that you employ in your business. It may not mean a complete overhaul of how you do business, but it may mean a sharpening of the way that you go about running your business. In its most basic form, I think that this concept plays itself out in your database. You see, big companies understand that data is I don't even want to say the new oil because it's been the oil, the currency of choice now for a few decades. And so you have to be thinking, how are you collecting and mining data? You can do that as an individual agent, and you can do it extremely well. But here's what I find when consulting dozens and dozens of agents. Most of us choose to push that aside. Many of us will verbalize that that is important, and yet by our actions, we don't actually demonstrate that it's important. And so perhaps this third and final takeaway from Family Reunion 2022 applied to your business might look like this. What is the one thing that you can do with your database such that the data becomes more useful to you? Maybe it's adding a home anniversary date. Maybe it's adding a birthday. Maybe it's making sure that the phone numbers are all accurate. It can be that simple. And yet, as we see the consolidation and the blending of brokerages and teams, whatever we want to call it, team bridge, I think the most foundational piece of value that we can derive from that is that those who protect the data and those who use the data to their advantage will undoubtedly provide the most value to the consumer. And we know that those who provide the most value to the consumer are the ones that win. So those are a few of my takeaways from Family Reunion 2022. I hope that you can apply those things to your business, and I look forward to sharing even more of the amazing things that came out of our national conference in Orlando, Florida. With that, I'm going to sign off for the day, but of course not without telling you to go play all in.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the All In Podcast. We want to invite you to find all of today's resources from our show page at aipodcast.co. We also ask that you take just 1 minute to leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. This is how we grow and how we're able to bring you the best content each and every week. Now go play all in.